All right, you're watching the Sports Roundup Show. This is our NBA segment, January 22nd today. The NBA season's about a month in, right? We started back on the 19th of December, so we're about four weeks or so into the NBA season, and it's been pretty exciting so far. You know, we've seen a lot of good big storylines. We've had the big James Harden trade. Um, and it's going to be an interesting season. But we'll start off with the Lakers, who of course beat the Milwaukee Bucks last night. I wasn't too surprised that they won. I don't know what you think, Cody.
Mike, so one, I want to start off with this. 1 month in, as you mentioned, because last night after the show, the Insight into the NBA folks, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, Shaq, they was talking about like the whole NBA season so far, who has been disappointed and whatnot. But since we're talking about the Lakers and Bucks, I want to ask you this: How do you, 1 month into the season, Lakers, what grade would you give them? A through F. Hopefully they didn't fail yet, Mike.
Nah, no, I'll give him a B plus.
B plus.
B plus. I mean, defensively still have some issues. I think they're obviously a brand new team, right? So it's going to take a while to get that team defense down. But I would give him a B plus.
B plus.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go B. B minus. Um, I'm with you. Defense, and the main reason on the defensive side is it showed last night, Mike. We're gonna talk about more about the Lakers, how good they played, and how bad the Bucks played. But the Bucks did score over 50 points in the paint, and that's because we lost two rim protectors in the offseason, and
McGee
Dwight,
and Howard.
yeah, and then JaVale McGee. And now, Mike, other than Montrezl Harrell taking charges, but getting hit inside the chin, it seemed like every single game with them elbows when you try to take them charges, we have no rim protection. AD, whenever he does get a chance to play center, Marc Gasol, he's not he's not been playing good so far throughout this first month. So that's why I would go B minus. But to the game of last night, Mike, as you was saying, I thought it would be closer than what it was. It was for a little while, but
Yeah.
Lakers did pull out towards the end.
Well, I mean, yeah, early on, Milwaukee had like a lead, right? And the Lakers actually didn't play too well at the beginning, but that's when I think Milwaukee should have took advantage, right? They had to jump ahead, take a 10, 15 point lead if they wanted to really have a chance at winning this game because we knew the Lakers eventually were going to come back and really, really expose that Milwaukee Bucks defense, which in my opinion has been, worse than last year. I know they made a trade to get Drew Holiday and they hope to get better by doing that. But I don't know what you think, but I think the Milwaukee Bucks are actually worse this season than last year.
So I like the Drew Holiday pickup, Mike. I've always been a big fan of his, but everybody else, I'm with you. They have not been living up to what it was last year. If I'm correct, nine and seven, 9 and 6. I gotta see the stats, but uh 9 and 6. Not they're 9 and 6 so far. Uh, so third right now in the East. You would think the way coming into the season, how they tried to revamp their team and everything, they'll be way ahead of everybody else in the East, first place. But they've struggled so far. And Mike, I want to get into this about the Bucks a little bit. Of course, we can definitely talk about the Lakers, but I want to actually. So what I see, we was talking about this before we came on a little bit. All they do is just give it to Giannis at the top of the key and just tell everybody to just space out. They've been doing that the last 3 years. This year, it seemed like it's really bad when they thought it was supposed to change. And it seemed like teams have been adjusting to it with whoever they play. And I don't think it's going to work, especially when it comes playoff time.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to work, and I think that just has to do with the system of the team, right? And maybe the Bucks need a coaching change. I think a lot of
I was
people
thinking that.
last season we're expecting Mike Budenholzer to get fired after losing to the Miami Heat somehow, right, in the second round. But it didn't happen, and maybe they should have got rid of him, right? Because I think they really need to have a whole like structure change, right? They really need to change everything. I know Giannis is probably the best player or big man in the whole league. Well, not the best player, obviously, but I would say he's the best big man in the league, right? Giannis, and they obviously all the plays go through him. But it just I don't know. I just think it looks very predictable what the Bucks are going to do, right? And the Lakers were just ready for it. Second half, I mean, the Lakers had the game pretty much. I know it wasn't a blowout, but I mean, you kind of got the sense as soon as I think KCP hit that buzzer beater off that terrible defense before the end of the first half. I mean, it was obvious the Lakers are probably going to win this game.
Mike, you are me, I'm you. Um, I was thinking the same exact thing. Mike Budenholzer, even when he was with Atlanta, so they used to always, give either first place a couple of years. Um, Sometimes they snuck into the A spot, but nobody thought they were going to win a championship or do anything. Because in my opinion, um, yeah, Mike Budenholzer's his offense, his defense, that's kind of like what he's known for, coming from the Spurs, that Greg Popovich system. But offensively, yeah, he needs to maybe do more motion plays with Giannis. I know he doesn't shoot threes or mid range, so maybe it's kind of hard to get him off ball screens, stuff like that. But he has to think of something different because they don't. Of course, the Bucks will make the playoffs. We can go to Vegas right now and bet, Mike. The Bucks
Yeah,
will.
they'll be top four for sure.
But once they get playoff time, it will be different.
I kind of think, why didn't the Milwaukee Bucks try to? I know they traded for Drew Holiday. Why didn't they think about trading for Chris Paul? I mean, I think Chris Paul would have fit in a lot better on this team. I know Drew Holiday is a great point guard too, but I don't know, man. I think Chris Paul and Giannis, that would have been for me a contender type team.
Mike, if you think about this, that pick and roll, that would have been lethal because
Yeah,
um, no matter what, they're gonna always try to put a big man on Giannis, correct? So whether it be let's say for the Lakers, for instance, last night, Anthony Davis, we can go to other teams. The other night I saw Bam Adebayo on Giannis from the Miami Heat. They're gonna try to put a big man on Giannis to try to stay with him. Chris Paul, you switch on that pick and roll, he's going to be attacking that big man. Or you can put Giannis in the post because it'll be a point guard who's guarding Chris Paul. So if you switch that, so put Giannis in the post versus. So yeah, so I'm with you. We were talking about that in one of our previous videos, if I remember, when it was rumors about it, and we were saying that yeah, they should have probably have tried at least try to get Chris Paul.
yeah, and then switching over to like the Phoenix Suns, we have Chris Paul right now. The Phoenix Suns have been, they've been playing well. They've had a terrible start to the season. 8-5. But I just think like it's been a kind of difficult right now for Chris Paul to adjust to the Phoenix Suns. I don't know if you've had a chance to see them play, but he's having a lot of trouble adjusting. Something I never really saw with Chris Paul with the other teams he was on. Because I just think the style of play for the Suns is just not really something that Chris Paul is really used to, right? I mean, there is a big man in, of course, Aiton, but Aiton kind of struggles offensively, I think, at the NBA level.
And if you go back to last year, Mike, to your point, Chris Paul, he was he was. I mean, Chris Paul doesn't care about being a star, but he was a person who would take the last shot or get somebody who would take the last shot. Now we know it's Devin Booker, so maybe that's why it's taking some time to adjust. Um, they did. I do want to mention had that little COVID sequence outbreak, so some games were canceled for them. So maybe that's still taking some time. Of course, we can always mention the short training camp that everybody had. So, but yeah, so maybe it could be the Devin Booker factor because James Harden, he knew that James Harden was gonna do dribble, dribble, dribble all day, so he would
Yeah.
just stay in the corner or whatnot. But now with Devin Booker, something different. Got to get him this ball off screens, whatnot. So still trying to adjust.
Now switching over to James Harden. What do you think? First game of the new big three in the NBA, right? With Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie. Finally, last Wednesday, they somehow lose in overtime to the Cleveland Cavaliers in a crazy game. I didn't get a chance to see it, but what a crazy a loss. But I don't know if you saw any of that game. What do you think of the three of them together?
First, I want to say, you see how I'm good with those segues, Mike? I know you was about to talk about
Yeah,
James.
we're just going through all the segues. Yeah, man.
But yeah, so I actually did get a chance to watch that game. Shout out to NBA League Pass. It's free for this week for DirecTV subscribers.
Man, dude. I really, man, they never did it on Spectrum at
So
all.
So it's funny. I always throw that little jab in there for Mike because I have DirecTV, and then we
Yeah,
always get that. And then every time I say that, Mike gets a little perturbed, like
yeah,
we can never get that.
yeah. Never get it, man. Sorry.
Soon,
Yeah,
Mike, soon.
yeah.
um, but yeah, so I did get a chance to catch that. And Mike, it they can't play defense. They can score. They had, which you probably saw, 135. It was a double overtime, but they
Yeah.
had 135 points, and the Cavs had 147. And Mike, I was watching Kyrie Irving. He's not known for defense, and it showed that game. James Harden, he's not known for defense, and it showed that game. Um, Jeff Green, the power forwards can post them up whenever they switch because they do a lot of switching. They play like the Rockets of previous years with Mike D'Antoni on staff with them, and then he's the head coach. So they switch everything because they have no defense. So Mike, my question to you is, um, are they going to just try to outscore everybody from what I know you probably seen some highlights at least, and what from what I just explained to you, but are they going to try to outscore everybody or because they can't defend, Mike?
Well, I don't know. I think the defense, I remember early on. I mean, it's been a short season so far, but I think what's really affected him too is they lost Jared Allen, right? I mean, Jared Allen was a big defender for them, especially in the paint, and I think DeAndre Jordan just, he's a good player, but I don't think he's really what he used to be, right? So they had to give and take with this trade, right? They wanted to get Harden, so I think they gave up they gave up a big aspect of their defense,
Everybody.
everybody pretty much. So yeah, I think they're just going to try to outscore everybody. I think if they can all average 30 points a game, the three of them this season, I think that's going to be hard to beat.
Mike, so then let me ask you this to play devil's advocate. Is that going to work in come playoff time? Because
Well, it'll work in the Eastern Conference playoffs, but not in the NBA Finals. I don't know.
versus the Sixers and Celtics and those teams?
Yeah, I mean, I don't I think if these three guys put up like they like I said they average 30 points a game and in the playoffs, I mean it's gonna be that's 100 and that's 90 points right there, right? And it's gonna be hard to beat.
And then to your point, um, they're a depleted roster, Mike. When the bench came in, when I was watching some of that game versus Cavaliers, their backup center is short. Kind of reminds me of PJ Tucker with the Rockets. They do have Joe Harris coming in, who can shoot, but other than
Yeah.
Dinwiddie's still out with the ACL. We don't know if he's gonna come back this year. So if one player gets hurt from the big three, or when those players come out, that is a time when they might struggle. So I was thinking, Mike, they may have to sign somebody from like if a team buys out a player or whatnot. They have to do something creative.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make some. Of course they've already given up what all their draft picks for the foreseeable future. So they're gonna have to, like you said, buy out. Yeah, pretty much, right? I mean, because it's gonna be hard to trade anybody. And then like Joe Harris, he's been really good this season. He had a tough game. He only had 6 points. He usually gets more than that, right? He's usually in double figures. So I don't know. I think the Brooklyn Nets after this trade, if the three of them stay healthy, I really think they're going to be in the NBA Finals. That's just my opinion. I don't think anybody in the East really can compete with that. Definitely not Milwaukee. Philadelphia, we'll see that their defense hasn't been that great this year. And on Miami, I don't know. I don't think they'll make the finals again. So I know the East is just a weak conference, right? We say this year after year, and I think Brooklyn, if the big three in the NBA stay healthy, they will make it all the way to the NBA Finals by outscoring pretty much everybody. Once they get into the NBA Finals, that's another story, because we'll have to see who they match up with, right? I mean, if they're matching up with a team that plays better defense, then it's going to be an issue, right?
Mike, so to your point, I have them too. I have them making the finals. I just believe in Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant will be the key factor, and I have him making it to the finals. Yeah, so like right now, the sixth seed is 7-7. That's the Hawks. You have the Cavs and Knicks. So yeah, so they'll make it. Only team I would worry about is Embiid. He has been playing like an MVP so far this year. So we'll worry about the Sixers. But I want to ask you this. Um, it won't be the Lakers. It will not be the Lakers. Lakers will win a championship. Let me say this: Lakers
You're
will win.
guaranteed it already.
But let's say for some reason the ref cheats or something. So if the Lakers don't make the finals, do you have them beating every other team?
What do you mean? Like, do I have the Brooklyn beating any other team from the West?
Yes, from the West. Huh?
No, I think they're gonna. I think any team, those four contenders that I have, I think I have Utah, the Clippers, Denver, and the Lakers as the four contenders, and I think the four of them can actually really compete with Brooklyn because I think they all defend a lot better than the Brooklyn Nets. So I think it's actually, well, maybe not Denver, but I do think Denver is not a great matchup with Jokic, right? It's going to be tough to guard Jokic for the Brooklyn Nets. So actually, I think Brooklyn is actually gonna be more of a mismatch if they make the NBA Finals because I think the teams in the West are a lot more complete in terms of bench scoring and all that.
They're bigger.
Yeah, bigger teams and all. Yeah, and rebounding. Brooklyn I think is going to really struggle getting rebounds. I know they have DeAndre, but other than him, right? I mean, think about it. How are they going to get those rebounds?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, so we'll see how the rest of the NBA season goes. Tomorrow the Brooklyn Nets are playing the Miami Heat. So I'll be able to see that game tomorrow. It's on NBA TV, so it's the first time I get a chance to see the Big Three.
And today they play the Cavs again. So
that's right. They're playing the Cavs again because we have the NBA scheduling. So maybe the Big Three won't play tomorrow, right? Because it's a back to back. I might see some absences, but we'll see how that goes. The this NBA regular season, I don't know what you think, but it's been very unpredictable, right? We've seen some crazy results, some blowouts that are surprising. So it's going to be a fun season. I didn't think it'd be this unpredictable, but it's been pretty fun so far.
Mike, so I'll give you mines, and then I want to ask you this. I'll get mines first, but what has been, would you say, the craziest thing so far of the season? I'm gonna go with the Wizards. I got two. The Wizards. How many games if they try to make up all those games in the second half that they're missing right now, Mike, the Wizards are going to have to be doing double days like it's baseball or something.
No, I don't know. The Wizards could still get to the 10th seed, right? And get in the play-in.
Yeah.
It's not over yet.
And then I want to say I am shocked that the Cleveland Cavaliers are the 7th seed right now.
Yeah, that's surprising.
So, any surprises so far for you this first month?
Well, I don't know. I'm really surprised with I got a chance to see the Utah Jazz last night, and I'm surprised that they're 11-4. After that collapse against the Nuggets, I expected a season where they wouldn't be as good. That's usually what happens, right? And they're 11-4, so they're actually up there, maybe even better than the Clippers right now. So that's the biggest story for me in the NBA.
They played good last night. I'm a Mitchell fan. To me, I got them right now over the Clippers. But still, still behind. Sorry. Oh, shout out to Adidas. That wrong side. I don't know why.
Wrong side.
Shout out to Adidas though. Still.
There you go.
The Lakers.
All right. So I want to thank everybody for watching today's NBA segment. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel down here. Thanks for watching, everybody.